Welcome back. Welcome back. This is We-On-Loc. We gonna hit it on, try to hit it on all four sectors, or for topics rather. Without wasting time, let's get into the first topic. Shouts out to D Rail for interviewing and getting Jamal Abdullah Johnson, Umar Johnson's father, onto his platform to discuss the despicableness on Lennon's part, which most people would, and especially in that sector, would gaslight. So, without further ado, I'm just going to get right to it, but let me just set it up. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And uh, support the show. Um, Show a brother some love, and here we go. Without further ado, because I'm gonna try to hit it on both topics. All right, there we go. Fair use, fair use.
The ultimate authority to ascertain that once and for all. And he's
I've
called me
never
a
heard you anything.
honor has addressed my son on what he has done and what he's accused of doing. He has misconstrued statements I've made. He's made narratives about me and my family which are totally untrue, which he cannot validate. He makes up scenarios based on dates and times and places. He does not have the accurate information because he's not talking to myself. And if he's talking to anyone who thinks they know me or is related to me, then they don't have accurate information. Um, One thing he said recently, oh, let me say this. I believe this, I'm positive. I'm 99.9% positive. I've heard him call me a bitch at least once. Uh, I know he's called my son a bitch many times.
Yes, he has.
He's
I've
called me
never
a,
heard you anything, but I have heard him
I'm,
say speak ill of your son. But you
I'm
did
sure he,
express that to me. But I'm
Uh, I witnessed it myself. Lennon Honor is trash. Lennon Honor has stepped outside the boundaries plenty of times when it came to Umar, but when it comes to his father, which his father has absolutely nothing to do with what his son is doing out there in the real world. It has nothing to do with his father or his family, but that's just how much of a snake that he really is. And I'm surprised that his supporters don't even see the things that he's doing is wrong. But I digress.
gonna let you go ahead and explain that.
yeah, I'm sure he called me a bitch at least once. I actually started going through some of his old stuff to try to find it, but that's just hours and hours and hours of hearing him, and I don't want to do that. But the bottom line is this: he has called me a liar repeatedly. He has accused me of doing things I did not do, never did do, never would do. He's included this unfortunate situation that's currently going on with my granddaughter and my son and inflamed that to levels that it should not have gone to as it relates to me and my family. And we've spoken in the past. And he says his justification for all this is because I told my son he was related to Frederick Douglass. I don't see how me stating that one statement causes me to be involved in every video that he makes in a disparaging way towards me, my son, and my family. That has nothing to do with the issues that are on the forefront and are extremely controversial today. I will say this only because he says this is the main reason why he's doing it. My son had stated many times that we are related to Frederick Douglass. I wanted to ascertain that once and for all. So some years ago, I took a DNA test by Ancestry.com for $99. There was another gentleman who had also taken a DNA, who was a direct descendant of Frederick Douglass. His profile, my profile, did not perfectly match up. As a
Okay.
result, as a result, neither one of us being experts in the field, he came to the conclusion we were not related. I piggybacked on that conclusion based on just what we read in black and white.
Okay.
I, I came back being transparent and stated what I saw and what I concluded. But I also stated at the end,
What's not true? You have to be more specific. What's not true?
which I have a copy, even though Lennon Honor thinks I don't, I have a copy of what I wrote. I said if I found out that anything was different, I would make it publicly known. Since that time, I've spoken to my family, my extended family, and the family of which we have family reunions, and which we have a family book, and which we'll in museums for our linkage to Frederick Douglass lineage, which the gentleman who who disclaimed our relationship to them, he's very aware of my family. He's very aware of our reunions. He has been actually physically in touch with some of my extended family members of the Bailey Cason
What up,
family.
young?
So it's not like this was pulled out of the air, and people can research it for themselves. Based on the doubt that has arisen from all this, I spoke to other people about genealogies,
If you can point out the document, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be labeling you a liar.
and they have told me emphatically that Ancestry.com is not the ultimate authority on DNA results. There is a science to this. And unless you take that science, which I believe there's a gentleman
Greg.
on PBS that does family histories. I forgot his name.
Yeah, Henry Gates.
Right. And he goes all the way in. Unless we do
Yeah.
something like that, we have not come to the conclusion of the DNA lineage. And this is what I really want people to understand so that Lennon Honor can stop using this false statement as his reason to continue to drag myself and my family into his obviously profitable denunciations of my son and what he's doing. Now, if he wants to deal with my son one-on-one on this, do it. Stop using my name. Stop using my family. Stop using my dead wife. Stop using my advocacy in my community. Stop using my military time. Stop using everything that he knows about me.
And you don't see how sick this guy is. You're just as you're just as pathetic as he is. If you do not see how sick, twisted, evil, pathetic, just downright just nasty Lennon Honor is. All for a buck? All because the nigga can't keep a job. You're gonna go after not only you want to go after Umar, which I could totally understand, which is petty and it's very obsessed and suspectish, but you're gonna go after his whole family. And then you're gonna call the brother out of his name after you interviewed him. After you interviewed him, he was being transparent. Damn shame.
In a negative way. I have talked to Lennon Honor online and offline. I have never insulted him, called him out his name, disrespected him or his family in any way whatsoever. And I'm extremely upset that at this point in time, in light of what's going on with my family, unfortunately, as public as it is with my son and his daughter, that this guy continues to use not only my son for bait, but also my family. I'm sure he can get enough views and clicks just from my son.
Dick
He
ride
doesn't
my
need
nuts,
me.
nigga.
He doesn't need my family.
Dick ride my nuts, nigga.
I've reached out to some legal figures to ask them what can be done.
Okay, we have a little bit of technical issues. I think
I just want to say, it's like I said, people want to come over here. People want to come over here and you know, deride Lennon Honor's coattail. Lennon Honor's booty hole must be that must be so open. Like have you ever seen those birds that get fed by their mama bird? That's how big his ass open his ass open. That must be that fucking big. Man, he having ketchup packets up in that motherfucker. Ooh, shit.
his phone went out, but he'll be back.
He was trying to say no, but you know what? I'll let that. I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let it go because I got so much pent up frustration. I got so much pent up frustration from this. What the shit I heard, but I'm gonna let it play.
Guys, once again,
I'm sorry?
he's back. Go ahead, sir.
Jay-Z ain't had nothing to do with this. But then again, this is Hollywood. Then again, this is Hollywood.
I contacted YouTube about his inflammatory statements concerning me and my family. I've I'm going other avenues. I don't want to go all out on this guy. I don't know him. I don't have the relationship with him that a lot of you people who are on social media do. I'm not here to character assassinate him in any way. I don't know his history. I don't want to know his history. All I know is that my name is being dragged. My children, my grandchildren, and my great grandchildren are hearing this venom that he spews about their relatives, especially me. And to hear this and then to be told from their friends what they may have seen or heard on YouTube about their grandfather and their father is ridiculous. I don't have a stake in this thing. This is something that he needs to take up with my son and my son alone. Leave me out of it.
That's what I ultimately kept saying. And I was wondering why a picture of Jamal would be out there in the first place, right? His oldest picture when he was in the military. Um, he is military minded, and so is Umar because of the military background he has. I mean, he's the oldest of what, several brothers and sisters. So I would understand where Umar gets his intellect from, or his discipline from, not his intellect, because we don't know how smart. I'm not saying that Jamal is dumb by any means, but I would take it that he would get his intellect from his mother and his discipline from his father. Let's continue.
Leave my family out of it. Leave my wife out of it. Leave my children out of it. And this is the message I want to get to him. I'm not, he plays tough guy. He says something like, well, I would tell him to his face. Well, Mr. Honor, I'm saying this to you direct, one gentleman to another. And I've said this to you in writing. I'm more than willing to come to where you are, meet you wherever you like, so we can resolve this issue. I'm saying this as a gentleman. I'm saying this as someone who's almost 70 years old. So don't come at me with that tough guy rah-rah stuff. I ain't for all that. But I want this to stop. I'm a father. I'm a family figure. I'm a staple of my community. I'm well known in my community. And I don't appreciate this. That's the message I really would like to get across to him in the most civilized, mature, and respectable way that I can.
That motherfucker gonna play bitch. He is straight gonna play bitch. He's gonna talk shit and talk more shit and talk more shit till he's blue in the fucking face. And he's gonna talk to his little cookie crush chat and just spill a whole bunch of venom and just continuously do that. Right? And I wouldn't be shocked if he were to take some of the stuff out of this documentary. And I'm thinking to myself, didn't he already do like several documentaries? One, he did a shockumentary, and the other one, he did a documentary. So, how many documentaries is he going to come out with? It's going to be the same old shit. The same old shit with the added bonus of Jamal Johnson and his family, which I totally disagree. And if he does not get rid of that soon, it's going to be a class action lawsuit or a cease and desist letter. And I hope he gets that shit. But we will see, since we got a whole bunch of cookie crush boot. Never mind.
You and denigrating yourself, your family. Like you said, it's one thing to say things disparagingly about Umar, and obviously it's for economic reasons, but to bring the whole family due to his obsession with Umar is greatly unfair. I would like to know if you what is the have you been like the blame, like when you talk about your family and people knowing about this, like how are they responding to you about this? Like, because obviously this has gotten you to the point where you feel like you have to talk about this. Like, has that been like the catalyst to triggering you to have to actually come out publicly? Is it because of the family response to you or Umar, or is it just something you felt like you had to do yourself?
This has been brought to my attention over the years, many times from family, from friends, from associates. And I basically try to just ignore it. I don't go on and look at him anymore until recently. And the only reason I did it recently was in light of what's going on now with my son and his daughter. Of course, I'm very concerned about that. And when I heard or saw that he was about to do something about it in a video, I wanted to see what he would say. And worst things he spoke of was me. And needless to say, it arose in me a hatred and a venom and sense fury about this guy because I'm watching all this, and I'm the father and the grandfather of the two people involved. But we also
Right.
have family. We have family. So all this stuff that's being put across the internet is being viewed by my family, my friends, my associates, and it's a freaking sideshow that shouldn't be happening. Umar can handle his business his way. This is what he does. This is his realm of notoriety. Then let it be so. I don't have any desire to have that. I don't have any desire. My children don't have any desire. People keep saying, well, where's Umar's family at? Well, Umar's family is not trying to be a part of this mess. Umar handles this on his own way in his own time. And even as it pertains to my granddaughter, she's grown. If she chooses to do what she does, then so be it. She has the right. But no one has the right to drag other people into this that have nothing to do with it, that have said nothing about it, and that just want to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Criticize him for that. I've criticized him for that. He cannot do that. He is not he actually have on his website of him being sort of a dating coach, fatherhood consultant, or all this other mess that he is not. Matter of fact, Lennon Honor caused harm to a young lady who was sexually abused by her father. And she actually emailed me years ago about the negligence that he produced and trying to get her through that. And that was beyond his understanding, education that he doesn't have, and skills. And she knew something was wrong with Lennon Honor. And she paid like $100 an hour to talk to Lennon Honor. And this is facts.
Well, let me say again, I need to inject this again. I'm not here to bash Lennon Honor.
But he's done that. I know that.
So basically, he's a fraud. Okay, we all established that. We all established that Lennon Honor's a fraud. So we can move on.
For a fact. This is, I know a fact that he did it. This is factual. You don't have to.
Okay, I'm only speaking for myself.
Okay.
I'm not here to bash him. I'm not here to insult him. I'm not here to threaten him.
Right.
I'm here to say that everybody in this country has a right to privacy. And it makes no sense to continue to think that it's appropriate to drag family members into this just by the fact that possibly they may have ejected themselves online a few times, but not in the current situation that's going on right now. And like I said, he has no reason to think that I would try to hurt him or try to harm him or his family in any way, because I never, ever came across like that. And I'm not coming across like that now. I'm just saying, give my family respect that you want your family to have, because I'm sure his family has been harassed by people in the past on the internet. Well, I don't want that for me and my.
Again, I'll stress this again. Umar may have said one thing, right? One thing about Lennon, and that was what, 10, 12 years ago? And you mean to tell me that this idiotic person has carried this drama with him ever since? Are we kidding? Are we kidding here? So you hold animosity towards it, or this is just, like I said, this is just a money grab, because you do get paid, and he got a chunk of change. He got a chunk of change out of this whole situation with the daughter thing. He got a chunk of change. And I don't default people doing what they do. I mean, go ahead and get your pound of flesh on, my guy, because that's what people do. That's what people are supposed to do, right? Especially on the internet. But I'm saying, why drag the father into this? Why drag the siblings into this? Why are we doing that? Not only are you an obsessive, foolish person, but this is coming off, to me, this is crossing a line. This is merely crossing the line. And like I said, I don't, supporter of Lennon or not, you don't find this to be eloquently odd. You don't find this to be wrong by any means. Of somebody who has never met, never shook hands, never had a conversation with, you don't find this odd. Umar has never looked this man in the eye before. Saying that he tried to have Lennon said he had tried to have a conversation with him. Try to have a conversation with him. How? When you haven't even met him? I haven't seen you in any of his lectures. I have not seen you in any of the podiums asking him any questions. None whatsoever. So how is it that you try to get to Umar? Even back then, how did you try to get? I never heard of you, and I've watched like damn near 90% of the videos that came out. Even at his lectures that I've been in, and I've been in 3 of them, he has never mentioned your name. He has never said your name in anger. And the only time that he would ever do that, even if he did it, you kept calling him out. It's like how many times, right? How many times do we have to endure all this bullshit before we can even say anything? If we say something, we're wrong, right? If you keep coming at me, and if I say one thing, I'm wrong, I'm not supposed to retaliate after you constantly keep coming at me. I'm not supposed to say anything. Just like with that whole Sabra suit and Seni thing. But I ain't gonna even relive that because that was just too damn funny. So
My family, and as a father and a grandfather, I definitely don't want to sit back and watch the names of my children or my dead wife or my family members put across on his platform.
did you hear that? Did you hear that? You're gonna talk about this man's dead wife. Quite. This is quite the gentleman that you rep. This is quite the gentleman. I wonder what else that came about it. Oh yeah, he called him a bitch. Called Jamal Johnson a bitch. Like Jamal Johnson never disrespected you, dude. Never. Asked asked all the questions that he had answered, but Negroes just want a straight answer. Oh no. He's been doing this. What you don't understand, Lisa. He's been doing this for years. It's just gotten to the point this year. And he's mentioned Jamal before, but it's gotten to the point this year where he's trying to take it even further, right? Which again, it's a money grab. So I wouldn't be. I'm not surprised and I'm not shocked. But when the father comes out, and he's not even angry about it, but he's stating, "Leave me the fuck alone." So he's been doing this for damn near decades, damn near a decade. So it's not surprising to me.
Repeatedly with charts. I mean, I've seen his charts, and I mean, this guy puts extensive time into my son and his family and everything else. I don't know where in the world he has the time to do all this, but he does. And I don't know if he's obsessed or what. I'm not trying to say he is, but I have not seen this type of time put in on my son from anybody. In all the years my son has been a public figure. And all I'm asking, and I am asking at this point that he
Right.
stop, that he stop. Concentrate on Umar if that's what you choose to do, which I really would wish you don't do that. But if he chooses to, so be it. But leave me and my family out of this.
Okay. Um. Because I was not again I'm as far as the repetitiveness of what he was doing. See, I thought things the times that I have heard Lennon Honor speak of you, which is very limited. I haven't heard him speak on you in actually a few years. I didn't know that he was the extent that you're telling me goes beyond you. He's talking, and I know, and I'm not even talking about the present day stuff with, but it seems like to me he's talking about you, the whole family, it's to me it's beyond what I would have ever thought, because I thought he just limited to you and Umar because you were online, Umar is online, but it's a lot more extreme than I would ever have thought, and so. Has anybody like encouraged you to do something? Like, did you like decline? Like, I understand you just kind of ignored it, but were people asking you to do something about this years ago? Like, were they kind of pressuring
Yes.
you, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I
So,
did not do it because I didn't want him to feel that it was a personal attack with him and I. And I thought over time, maybe he would minimize me in reference to his statements and anything else that he might have put online. But he hasn't. Instead, it appears to have increased because he somehow wants to somehow attach me to everything that my son does.
right.
And I mean, to do that in such a despairingly way on a consistent basis, just to get people to look at you, I don't understand it. I truly don't understand it.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, and I don't want to get into the because I'm handling this, and my decorum interacting with you is quite different than what I would typically do in the entertainment aspect of what I do. I'm as I know you're a very serious man. I have a lot of respect. I have the utmost respect for you. So I'm not trying to go into my usual content creation banter as it relates to Lennon Honor, but the reason why Lennon Honor is doing this is because this is what Lennon Honor has to do to make a. I'm not saying, listen, I know you're not trying to, you're basically coming to him as a man to say, this is me asking you respectfully. But this guy has no achievements. You know, this man needs this to make money. Like, this is a guy that if he didn't have YouTube, he would probably be homeless. And I'm not saying that to be funny or he has no life accomplished. This man went a decade without working. And those are facts, with 5 children. Okay. So when he found something that he could make money by not literally doing real work, this is all he knows, Jamal. And I'm trying to kind of paint a picture of why he's been so repetitive with this is because he has no other tangible skills in the marketplace that would allow him to comfortably take care of his children. And he's attempted to work in the tech field, which obviously didn't work for him, a family, by holding on to something that people actually pay him to do. And he doesn't care about the collateral damage that he has produced through speaking ill of you and your other family members, not considering how other people who are non-related to the YouTube environment are affected by the things that he's saying, and he doesn't care. So that to me, and other people that they've been saying this about Lennon Honor for years. This is what he does to make a living because he has no other skills. So unfortunately, and listen, that doesn't excuse what he did, but that's just the fact.
And I want to inject something very quickly in his speech real fast. I just want to bring something up that he keeps speaking of. He spoke about a time when I got on the internet and I said to my son via the internet that he was dead to me. And I wanted to express something. I love my son very much. I love all my children very much. My children are proud fathers, mothers. They're successful. Some of them has gone their way. Other ones have gone another way. The bottom line is they are their own people. But at no time would I sit here and say that I have hatred for my son. Unfortunately, that was a time of mental distress. My mother had just passed. I had heard something that I thought was a reliable source about my son in reference to my mother. And I stated what I stated based on what I was told. My son has since said that was not true. And I can't do anything but give him my sincere apology for making such a statement. But Lennon Honor has pounced upon that statement repeatedly. And I want people to know that statement was made out of duress. It was during the time of my mother's death. And I totally, for just simple English, take it back. I take it back totally. And I would never, and I will never, do anything to harm any of my children, including my son. So what people interpret as bashing is not bashing. I'm still a man. I still live in my community. And if my community is affected by something, no matter who it is, I want to try to find out what's going on. So at the point that I was saying what I was saying, other than that, that's what it was about. That's what it's always been about. Whether, it's money, whether it's a school, no matter what it is. I'm just another black man in this country who wants the best for our people. And when I don't see it happening, or no matter who's doing it, it's just in my nature to address it.
I want to say real quick, now that I've heard it come from him, I want to issue an apology because I thought at first that the reading into, not reading outside the box and not reading into it, I kind of like made quick to judgment. So therefore, I would like to give my public apology to Mr. Jamal Johnson now that everything has been cleared up.
Okay. My due diligence as it relates to, people that the sentiments that are in the chat right now is that we are not happy with Lennon Honor. And some people know that Lennon Honor do this. Some of them watch him. They have people, they have some of his supporters in.
Ali, he does have a relationship with his children and with his grandchildren and his great grandchildren. So what are we talking about here?
Here that I've actually timed out and blocked because they're saying things that are insensitive to you. And I'm not having that type of party right now. That's not what I'm doing. This is a serious affair. This is something that is beyond YouTube. This is actually something that is affecting your family. And I would ask for everybody to be a goddamn adult and be respectful to this man. This is an elder, and he deserves the respect. And I'm not tolerating disrespect.
Correct.
But those particular videos need to be sought out. They need to be flagged. We need to get those videos deleted and taken off of YouTube, because as long as those videos are circulating, his family, your family, can be exposed to those videos. Okay.
Okay, now you're contradicting yourself because read your statement. You said, why doesn't Jamal have a relationship with Umar's children? You said that came out your mouth, or you typed it in the chat. Now you're saying you're talking about Umar's children. Like, what are we doing? I have no idea. I have no regulation whatsoever. I'm not in their lives. If Jamal says that they have a good relationship, then again, I don't know. I do not know. I mean, everybody's family has downsides. So does mine. There's a downside in life where I don't speak to my family, especially my mom's side of the family. We hardly even speak. We hardly even speak. But I mean, it's improved. It has improved a lot since not my mother, but my grandmother. My grandmother's been gone, but it is what it is. But see, here's the thing: no one has your life, so quit trying to astro project your life onto everybody else's, because your life is not the same as mine. It's not the same as his. That makes no sense. It sounds like a scarred woman, almost, at least.
And then if we create a environment where he understands that there will be a backlash or a consequence to him doing that, then that would also increase the likelihood of him not speaking of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, speaking of you or anyone else in your family that really is none of our business, or it's, again, like you said, we can relegate this strictly to Umar. That's something different. But when it comes to you or others, that should not be his business, and I think that that's totally distasteful for him to go to that route. And to be honest with you, these guys like him, they have there's no depths that they wouldn't go to get a story or to get a trigger. Unfortunately, Mr. Jamal, but those are the things that could be done. You know, that's the criminal justice system that you can file, like you stated you've done, and so forth. I would suggest maybe even filing a restraining order if you could do that. You can potentially do that, but also in the realm of YouTube, strike his channel, get those videos taken down, and probably get his channel taken down for that.
That's going to take too much time and way too much effort to even try to go through each video. And some of those videos are what you call it, you're gonna have to be one of his little flunkies to do all that, to search for that particular video or videos that incriminate Jamal. But I would suggest what the first thing that Deuterell stated: just go ahead, file the paperwork, go into the paperwork, file a restraining order, and send it to his residence, and hopefully his wife looks at it, because I wonder what his wife thinks about all this. I wonder what the wife thinks about all this, because if that was my wife and I was sitting here for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours doing videos on one guy that he has not met, I'm talking about Umar. I'm not talking about Jamal. Jamal, he had spoken to Jamal more than one occasion, but I'm talking about Umar. If I have not met a person, not once, but I'm spending here for hours and hours talking about this guy, and I'm not spending time with my wife, you know that's grounds for that should be grounds for divorce. But then again, allegedly, he's not married to his wife. Alleged.
And that has happened before.
Let me say this.
This is something that has happened to people who talk crazy about your family members and so forth. They have suffered this same scenario. So that he's not immune from that.
Well, I'm not trying to bring any type of. I'm really not trying to do any of that. I want to stop what I'm doing now, okay? Because the bottom line is, I'm hoping that I can deal with him as a man to man, as a gentleman. I know he's younger than me, okay? He's old enough to be my son. Right. But the bottom line is, respect is due. And you cross the line when you start repeatedly, even if you say rest in peace, you keep mentioning my dead wife's name. And that's a stab in my heart, because you don't know her. You don't know anything about her. You made claims that I did something in reference to her and my granddaughter, which is totally a lie. But, the thing is this, there has to be a limit. And I hear people on here accusing people, threatening people, a lot of violence involved. Look, I ain't trying to go down like that. But at the same time, we need to have some kind of decorum. And I don't get on here and talk about him. No one can ever say they've ever heard me talk about him or his family in any way. And I know there's a lot of disparaging things on the internet about him and his family. But I've never said anything about it. I've never said anything about him and his family. Never. And I never will.
Now, I would like to say that the Umar sector does have a part in talking about Lennon's family in I want to say in retaliation. Even though I was a part of the Umar sector, I just want to say I have never, ever came after his family. I would never come after anyone's children. You know my law. Even the people that I argue with, even the people I don't like, I would never talk about their children. I have never. The most I've ever done is send Christmas gifts. All right. Or if it's like one of those. I forgot what program. I forgot what those programs were, like Big Brother, Little Brother programs. I would donate my time to that, or I would just give like Brownie had like her child or whatever. To be brief, little girl had a birthday. So I just I gave her a little something, for the little girl to celebrate her birthday. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I am. That's just how I am. And I've done this countless of times. I've done this countless of times. But I would never talk down to or talk about anybody else's children. Not even my worst enemy.
There's no reason for me to do that. But at the same time, he has got to respect me as the father of my family, my extended family, and he has to realize that people are looking at us through the prism of what he says. And people who are not aware of us, that don't know us, take anything he says as face value. And it's not respectful, it's not proper. So I'm just asking him to stop this. And I am asking for him to stop this immediately. I ain't even asking him to apologize. All I'm asking him to do is stop it. Just stop it. And go forth on the subject matter that you deal with and just leave me and mine out of it, including that long part that you put on that's supposed to be in your upcoming documentary about me. People don't need to know about me. People that know me know about me.
So let me ask this question. So basically, the fact that he is planning, you want that little whatever section is about you, you want that taken out the documentary.
Anything that relates to me or my family in any way, shape, or form, I'm asking him to please stop it now. Concentrate on your primary subject. I'm sure Umar will handle his business. We don't want to have anything to do with this mess.
Right. Legally speaking, I don't know how to. I mean, basically, if he does, they'll probably.
Lisa, you know what to do. Uh, handle my light work with last call, please.
Are other avenues of legal processes that you can take if he does come out with this. But I do appreciate that you've come in peace. You just saying, listen, you're not coming to threaten. You're not coming in an aggressive tone. You're being civil about it. And you're hoping that he can, show some civility and take heed to what you're saying and be respectful and stop doing this type of content and don't add you all in addition to Umar in his content or his documentaries or whatever projects that he has. So I don't know. The ball is in his court at this point. And so it's up to you, Lennon Honor, to actually show some decency for once in your life and not add this man and his family and Umar's relatives into this, because there's a difference between somebody being a figure, a content creator, and you're just limited into that. But when you're adding innocent people who don't know you, don't understand this environment, now it's going a bit deeper than what it should be, and you should be held to justice for what you're doing. So,
Ali, in order for you to come out with a biography of somebody, you have to go through the person that you're doing the biography for. So if you're doing the biography of Umar, you have to ask his permission first. It's the exact same way that you would do the biography of anybody else. So if you were to do that without my permission, I could legally sue you, because that's slander and that's defamation of character. So you realizing you're doing all that, what he's doing is ass backwards. That's just ass backwards. You're still here? Wait, I don't want to block the wrong person. I don't know about that. Get that ass banned, boy. Get that ass. It's called unauthorized. Yes, unauthorized, meaning I couldn't sue you for defamation of character. It's been done before. I think it was not Howie Mandel, the football player. Somebody tried to do a document on him. He sued their asses. All right. I hope he does get sued.
So we're asking you, Lynn, respect. I know you don't like me. I know you don't care, whatever. And I know you watch, and I've seen some of your people in here who are going to send you the link and all this other different stuff and things like that. But action will be taken against you. And I'm going to say right now, if I find content that you're doing, I'm going to flag your channel. And I'm not trying, this has nothing to do with you. This is just typically just out of respect. Like,
I do more than that, but let me continue.
you're coming to him because I remember when y'all felt, the little situation where he came at you totally different. This man is not an honorable man. This man is a guy who does anything to make money. And you've been respectful to him despite all the things that he said. So if he don't get it now, whatever steps that you take after this, then he's just going to have to deal with those consequences. Because again, I stopped watching him. I don't pay attention to him. I thought he stopped. I didn't see I don't know why he is still talking about you, or whatever. I don't get it, but I will personally, and I will galvanize other people to personally take down that content that has nothing to do, content that should not be targeting, because you're being targeted and harassed. That's really what you're actually going through, cyber harassment. He's harassing you, and he's harassing your family, and he should be, held accountable for that. And so I'm going to basically, along with myself, seek those videos out, and I'm trying to get those videos taken down, because we don't, like, you're telling me several, it sounds like to me this is multiple family members and friends and everybody. Like, who wants to live in their basic life, their regular life, and have people stopping you saying, I saw this in the feed, this guy named Lennon called you a B word or said this about somebody. This man is widowed. We don't know the grieving that he may be going through, which is none of our business. But you need to take account of, when you do these things, you take accountability of how this lingers to other people and how this affects them. No one wants to hear another man speak on their deceased spouse and you know nothing about them. That is low of the low. And only for you to get subscribers and viewers and little, minimal cash outs. That's ridiculous. You're not going to monetize somebody's family and disrupt their life because you choose not to work. So that's the position I'm coming from, Jamal. Again, this is separate from you, but I'm like, again, when you first told me this, I was
He is lying. He would be lying. He would be lying. You have to prove throughout the shadow of a doubt about any and everything that you put on paper or you put on video. You have to prove beyond the shadow of the doubt. Otherwise, it's just his words and his words. Some of this stuff is public, yes, but other things like accusing Ifa snorting cocaine, you have to prove that. You have to prove that. He's living with his mother. I mean, that's slander. You have to do that. I don't understand why you don't. I don't understand in your brain and in your mind that you have to prove these things. Otherwise, not only are you harming you're harming the family, actually.
Paul, I still am. And you will in your right to take criminal action, legal action against him. And also, when he releases this, if he chooses not to listen to you, and he releases uh, a digital content that can also be used against him. That content that he had, anything that he does in the past and from this point on can be used against him. So
Exactly.
it seems like to me you don't want it to go to. You just want him to stop.
Exactly. Exactly my point. Anything that he says, it can be used against him. Exactly my point. Because if you say something about me and it's not true, I'm taking your ass to the woodshed and I'm just gonna milk it for whatever how much I can get. That's on everything I love, cuz.
That's right.
But
That's
I'm
all
gonna
I'm
be
asking.
honest, huh?
That's all I'm asking.
You asking him to stop. So Lennon, he's asking you to stop. So if you don't stop, then you will have to deal with those consequences.
Man, just I would say to Mr. Johnson, he's not gonna listen to you. Go ahead and just do what you need to do. That would be my advice because he's not gonna stop. He's not gonna stop because he needs these things. He needs these things in his documentary, shockumentary, or whatever. Me personally. Well, let me not go there because I don't want to be violent. What's violence? Too much violence in the black community as it is. It's too much. So I'll just leave it for the expert, the expert psychologists, the professionals, to make logical sense about this. Because me, I'm not that logical. Because this world is too logical for me. Everybody wants to make sense on everything, which none of this shit makes any sense. This whole world don't even make no fucking sense, and that's the truth.
And that I think that's fair to say. So is there anything else, brother, that you want to get off your mind? The floor is yours. I'm just, at this point, just kind of just things is running through my mind, as it relates to this. But it's unfortunate because, like I said, I'm not subscribed to the brother. I haven't listened to Lennon out of content uh, in ages. Every now and then, I may see a feed of it. I may tune in probably a couple minutes and see again something about Umar, and then I leave. That's basically what I have done uh, in the last 2 or 3 years. That's it. Every now and then, maybe every 2 or 3 months, I may see something. I may tap in for about a minute or two, and then I leave. That's it. So I don't.
Over the last couple of weeks, a lot of anguish, a lot of distress, a lot of anxiety, and sure, a lot of anger. But I also wanted to be understood by him and those who follow him. I'm in no way attacking him. I'm not disparaging him or his family. I'm not saying anything negative about them or him except what he's doing. That's all I'm limiting this to. This has nothing to do with my son and the way in which he chooses to address what my son does or doesn't do. My son can handle that on his own. This is about me and my family. And again, Lennon, you know I have never ever disrespected you or your family. And I'm asking you for the same respect back.
Jamal, and I'm not trying to be negative about it. You may have the decency that are in support of you and your family that
Intelligent and responsible. And if he can't reach back, at least with his actions in that way, then I guess, I'll just have to find some other means. But I don't want to bring any kind of stress upon him or his family. I don't want to talk about this again publicly. I'm hoping that this will be it and that he will move on with whatever his main topic is, and then that person will deal with him on that level.
Right. You're saying and do the right thing, but I don't know. All I can say is we'll wait and see what happens on that. That's all I can say. And again, if he doesn't, then you'll take whatever steps you need to take, and then we'll let that process, kind of take course, and then whatever.
I'm just asking
Right.
that he leaves my family alone. And
right, he needs to leave your family alone. And see, I had no idea. Like I really, when you told me this, I really.
All right, he's just gonna end up repeating the same old things, but um, but in good standard, he is correct in his statement that Lennon Honor should leave the family be, and if you can do as much Umar content as you want, I mean, it's not gonna stop. It's not gonna hit your pockets if you don't add in Jamal or not. The problem is when you become too petty about the shit, you end up going as far as the shit could take you, and not knowing the consequences and repercussions of your actions, most likely you're gonna get hit in the pockets. And I hope he does get hit with everything that the courts can allow. And I don't know the state of I don't know about the state of Philly. I don't know how it works, but needless to say, I hope he gets what's coming to him legally. I hope he does. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm just gonna switch gears real quick. Uh, my biggest issue, and coming at Lennon Honor the way that some people do, it's kind of warranted because people don't see what he does versus what Umar does. It's very, very, very different. But people take light in it. People just, it's like a comedy show, right? It's a comedy show. Lennon Honor doesn't have a life without Umar. He does not. He's a failed musician. He's a failed Israelite, whatever you call them people. Shout out to the Israelites. He's failed at happiness basically, but he's found a joy. He's found great joy in slandering Umar. The only success that he has ever had is this thing with the daughter. That's the only success that he has, because everybody's gotten their little pound of press and says, see. So, but this one, he kind of took a little bit too far when he's going to come out with his shockumentary. But I want to show you what he means, what D. Durrell means about a money grab. What I mean about a money grab, right? Is what the same thing. Let me start over. What Lennon Honor is trying to do, he tried to do the same thing to several people, including Corey Oakham.
Don't even motherfucking get to the park. When I was a motherfucker who didn't have no money, I used to be at the park every day hooping because I had time. I didn't have no works. Mm-hmm. But here's a motherfucker talking about us. Talked about you.
Yes.
talked about me. He didn't say nothing about you, D.
Okay.
That's another thing that let me know. Watch that motherfucker. Punk ass motherfucker sitting in the park had the nerve to say his 6-year-olds act more mature than us. Motherfucker, you said you got 5 kids. He said he got 5 kids. Who the fuck got time to sit in the park when they got 5 kids? I don't know a motherfucker got time to sit in the park unless they kids with him.
Wait, he already admitted in the video that he was having financial issues.
Oh,
he
no.
wasn't even ready.
He didn't have to tell me. He said
financial discipline was weak.
He said his financial discipline was weak. You didn't have to tell me your financial discipline was weak. You in the park.
You know,
I'm going to set up in the park because my woman put me out the house.
oh,
Go home where your girl take care of you and try to mature because you think you mature because of the way you talk, but you in the park with 5 kids. Come on, man. Come on, man. Talking about the way I talk. He said that Stephen A. Smith shit. This is another thing you motherfuckers can't fool me with. I don't normally watch his show. Get the fuck out of here. I'm your God, motherfucker. You want to be me so bad, but you can't give a motherfucker like me credit because of the way I talk. You think you closer to God than me. You not. You not. Trying to start some shit.
Right.
But what that's going to get you? It's just like the man in the park.
Right.
it's not worth it.
Do you got something to do today?
They're getting
Listen, in our community, there are certain people who wait for the downfall of others to jump on top of it. Like, this is an opportunity because I can't say shit about what they do, but now let me try to attack the man because it looks like he slipped a little. Now let me jump on him.
While you down.
While you down. That's,
that's
the
a
nigga in the
given.
park.
right. That's
the
cap,
nigga in
right.
the park.
That's
Yeah.
the other anonymous nigga. It's some nigga on the
Let me
internet.
get something out of it. Right. Let me
Anonymous.
get something out of it.
Let me
that's
talk about them
Let me talk
while
about
I got something to point at.
Right.
Because I really want to be them.
Right. They got the heat on them. So if I do a video about them, I'm gonna get ancillary views. They spoke on my behalf, basically saying Zoe comes in here with black-owned businesses that don't have the cash to get national exposure on radio, and we allow Zoe to promote these businesses for free. Niggas ain't making videos about that. Niggas ain't in the park making videos about that.
No, the dude in the park took this opportunity to criticize and say his 6-year-olds act like they more intelligent than us. Hey, your 6-year-old gonna ain't that old school?
Right. Sugar.
This motherfuckers out here got a vice. They like to sit in the park and talk shit about boss niggas. That's a fucked up vice.
Or another nigga like to sit behind a meme.
What's your address, homie? Send it to the thing so I can mail you a mirror.
Yeah.
You must ain't got none at the crib. You know what I'm saying? All you motherfuckers, that nigga, I see.
See, now you got me curious. You got people in there curious. Who at the park? Look, everybody's asking. Who you talking
I don't know where that video is.
No,
I believe
yeah.
it'll pop up more because
yeah,
I'm
we don't
talking
want to
about
get
it.
him. He loving this right
The
now.
mark in
Really.
the park. That's all he is. The mark in
all I know is he gotta let that thing on his head go.
the park.
Hey, he got natural lighting though.
Yeah, he ain't got to
You ain't got to buy some
He ain't got to
lights.
pay for no set. He has no responsibilities. He got
ain't
5
no
kids.
power outages, nothing.
I know you live with a woman, dude. I know you do.
Okay.
I know you do. I know that type. Didn't I nail you right, didn't I? He's somewhere like, he been following me. No, I ain't been following you. I know what kind of nigga
He ain't even
you
mad
are.
about it. He's probably happy. Probably
Oh my god, the man in the park. Oh, so he's not the only. So Umar and whoever else is not the only one. He's not the only one. Of course, he's done some outlandish shit while collecting the same amount of, well, almost the same amount of money. But y'all let him off the hook. But something wrong with Umar. Anyway, I bet you watched that over 100 times. No, this is the second time. This is the second time why you bullshitting. I don't even know why I gave it. Never mind. I'm trying to be nice today. But anyway, I'm gonna transition over to another hater that I was supposed to do a video strictly on her, Yvette Cornell. Hey, ADOS versus Pan-Africanists. And the two don't even correlate because none of them have beef with one another. FBA has a beef with everyone, but ADOS don't have a beef. Pan-Africans don't have a beef with neither one of them. So I don't even know why this is such a thing. But she comes out every once and again about Umar. I'm just gonna go ahead and listen to it because I was supposed to do that, but we end up getting sidetracked over some Umar shit with about his daughter, which I'm not gonna speak on. I'm not gonna keep speaking on it because it's just dumb.
It's going to point to some other things that we should probably be paying more attention to. We are in a different kind of Trump era. And this Trump era isn't like the last Trump era. No, we're not in chains and all that kind of stuff. But we have a lot of dangers and a lot of stuff to be aware of. But instead, we are paying attention to this man. Now, I consider Umar Johnson to be probably the funniest Pan-African comedian out there. He is the funniest political Pan-African comedian on the block, bar none. Nobody does it better than him. The best comedian in the game, the best Pan-Africanist comedian in the game. Nobody. However, the problem that comes into play is when you start taking that person seriously. Now, part of the problem happens is that we do debates too long. We take too long with debates. So we'll talk about, well, let him see. Let's see what he can do. Now, if it's a debate about me, hey, it's a bunch of people that can decide. I'm finished like 2 weeks in. I don't like it. I didn't like it. But with everybody else, we decide we gonna figure out what this stuff is, and we're gonna let it go for 10, 15 years. Listen, I am just telling you what it is. You can like it or not. You can hate it. I'm just telling you what a thing is.
Somebody told me that she was a white supremacist. all because she's for the Democrats. I mean, it's kind of white supremacist-ish per se, but if that's the case, then I used to be a Democrat. I turned independent. The moment shit went left, I turned independent. So I don't know. But then I was like, it really doesn't matter because you're gonna get screwed either way, Republican or Democrat. But she reps them Democrats real hard. But with this, she just likes to joke around. This is not her first rodeo.
So all of
Oh, before I replay this, like, share, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you have not done so, become a member of the We-On-Loc Nation channel. Please. I mean, now let's continue.
this time, this man has been running around trying to get your grit money. Said he was gonna found a school. We have not seen a school. We see he has a building with some ugly letters on top. No school. Now,
wait. Ain't that a school? I mean, it used to be a public school before Umar entertained and bought that school. That's not a school. So anything that's not freshly built, it's not this, it's not that, it's an abando. But white folks and Asian folks with money can turn abandos into property or into an actual school of their own. Or if they want, they can just tear the thing down and build within the property that they have. But black folks can't do this. Can't. Wow. The black community. Oh boy.
Next thing we see is, and let me see if I can bring this up beside the picture of Umar. But I'm not even going to, well, I'll just click to it for a second and I'll click back off. But he had some things to say because this was a big controversy. He had somebody who was allegedly his daughter come out and say that, hey, I was trying to get in contact with my dad, who was Dr. Umar Johnson. I was trying to get in contact with him to talk to my sibling, and she put out a video and say he didn't respond to me. Umar Johnson comes out and says this little girl, he calls this little girl is clout chasing. Then I have people talk about child support and different things. The young lady is grown. If she is your child, and you did not seem to me to contest paternity. If this is your child, the thing isn't to say we have some problems in family court. Sir, and everybody who is talking, listen, the child is grown. If the child, if that grown child of yours, that adult child of yours reaches out and say, I want a relationship with this sibling, you give that, and then you say, how about we have one too? See, what happens a lot of the times is some people don't know how to be grown. And so you end up having to reparent grown people. If you come across a man who says this and publicizes this, you are following the wrong person. If you come across anybody who says to you, I am the most respected speaker in the world, that person has a problem with narcissism. That person is delusional. That person makes videos from playgrounds. That person makes videos, a lot of videos from their car. That person has problems. And if I have to tell you that, that means that it has become my responsibility to reparent you, and that's not my responsibility. We're all supposed to be adults in this room.
Wow. We're all supposed to be adults, but you just spewed all you just went on a whole tangent. We're supposed to be talking like adults? I mean, what type of hypocrite shit is this? This is supposed, and not to mention, your shit ain't squeaky clean either. But I digress. Your shit is not squeaky clean at all. But people want a shit show, and I'm not giving it to them. Nope, not doing it.
We're all supposed to be adults in this conversation. So if I have to come to you and say, this grown man, if I have to come to you and say, this grown man is responding like this to his alleged daughter, if I have to say that to you, probably not just him.
No,
Said, well, he don't got to.
No. Oh, forgive me. Oh shit, forgive me. Oh, damn. Craig, Bud Light joke of the day goes to you, my friend. Whew. All right, back to life.
To be private, if she don't got to be private, do you want to parent your child or not? Well, if you ain't got no kids, how you tell him? I can see. I have eyes.
Oh,
I can see this.
Shit.
I can look at this. That is not, well, that little girl, tell her what she need to do. She need to stop doing a struggle streamer. I'm not. See, some of you like to take away opinions from people. Well, see, my child, listen, stop that. Well, you don't got a child. I've seen your children. They are my evidence.
Oh God.
I've seen the child raised with you and the one raised without you. And this goes around both. I see mothers doing the same thing. Listen, if you see this kind of thing, how if a person cannot manage their home, people love to talk about the black family. If you cannot manage your African family, then how, ladies and gentlemen, are we supposed to believe that you should run this space? See, the problem that we have is that we give so many people a lot of latitude, then we give other people very little latitude, and that becomes a problem. The problem is you want to hold some people by a very, we want to hold them by a very high standard. But other people, you don't want to really have a standard at all. That is a problem. You see, and our problem, the bigger problem I have about Umar and the child, the alleged child, and all this stuff, the bigger problem I have is that there are people who are still taking him seriously. Listen, if you view him as I do,
Stop it.
as like one of the best Pan-African comedians, everything he say is funny, child. Even when he's trying to be serious, he funny. It's never a time where I say, oh my God, that man is serious and he's about business. I say, that is hilarious. And when you...
I would say to Yvette, okay, since he's such a funny comedian, debate him. As I would tell everybody else, debate him. Are you his equal? No, you're not. Because not only did you lose once, you lost twice in something that was vaguely important when it came to when it comes to the United States of America, when it came to voting for Kamala Harris, you lost. You lost. When it came to voting for, I mean, true. I mean, you got what you got with Joe Biden, which was practically nothing but a bunch of LGBTQ shit. But that's beside the case. And some other shit came after that. But when people got tired of going through the bullshit, they said that they wanted a real man in office. Just saying. Now you guys are losing, and I don't even know why people like this often speak on rhetoric that she shouldn't be speaking on, but I digress. This is the reason why we had Jasmine Crockett. I know Craig don't like me saying that lady's name, but again, I have to be objective because again, I don't know much about Jasmine Crockett. Only thing that I know is what I see on video. I mean, it's kind of hard right now, pause. It's kind of hard right now to kind of like, because I'm not a politician like that. Lisa is. Lisa knows everything about Jasmine Crockett, so I don't know.
You take him seriously, you'll have a problem. And taking him seriously is even talking about him. Listen, we don't have time to really talk about this. I'm addressing it because this stuff should have died by now. This story should have died by now.
Ain't
Umar
gonna
Johnson is
hurt
not a serious person.
nobody.
He's a man with a set of delusions, and I don't know where they come from. The man set up on the Joe Budden podcast and said he just says the most fantastical stuff. Like he believes he lives in Wakanda. He said he's going to have about 35 conferences. We're going to have a conference for the men. We're going to have a conference for the women. We're going to have a conference for the people who take care of dogs. We're going to have a conference for the political conference. We're going to have this conference. Anybody who's ever put on a conference knows that's not possible. So I even have a problem. Like when you hear somebody say they're going to put on, because you've been trying to put together a school for at least a decade and you just told me you about to put together, go back and watch the episode. You about to put, is everything all right with you? But what I know is that, hey, if you want to laugh at somebody, knock yourself out. If you want to get a giggle at somebody, but right now things are too serious. Well, what you mean? What we talking about? What is too serious? Let me show you something. I'm gonna show you something real quick. We don't gotta spend a long time. But just you can't be paying attention to this man as he runs around from playground to front seat of this car to in this little room with this little person with medallions and red, black. I'm gonna tell you why you can't pay attention to that. Because he's living off your grit money. Oatmeal money, blueberry money, whatever kind of money.
Damn, she's mocking Pan-African. She's mocking, what you call them people? It's not so much Pan-African. She's mocking Earth people. Jesus. I'm not trying to be messy, but we got a couple people in the chat room. Ain't gonna hurt no. Hey, you sound like your pops. For a guy your age should sound like your pops. This is my party and I'll rock if I want to. Step to this, because I can dismiss like a death kiss. And you'd be sorry you ever stepped to this microphone wizard. Come on and place your bet. Is it going to be me or Eraserhead? I know you were sorry on the pork thing. It ain't nothing but a short thing. And that's me. The capital P on a high tip. One false move and you'll get your ass whipped. Don't start feeling the pain to your death ground. Ready? I'll be ready to serve you. But if you stay out past your pop's curfew, look at him. Already it has been. Let Uncle P say a rhyme so he can tuck your ass in. Oh, gosh, you guys are pathetic.
Money you got, he shows up and gives a speech or whatever. People say, that sounds powerful. That man powerful. He living off of that. But meanwhile, this is happening in your life right now.
Hey, Yvette, aren't you still paying on your tuition? You couldn't pay on your tuition a long time. You had to host a house party, yo. You had to host a house party. A pajama party. You had to host that pajama party. Yeah, we gonna kick his mother in his. Greg, you ain't shit.
Right now.
T-Bone.
And some of you are still saying.
T-Bone, you ain't.
I know none of my people ain't saying that, and we'll get back to Umar in a minute. But some of y'all are still saying, "Oh my God, Yvette, and you're acting like some people are, who despise me are acting like they made it up. DEI ain't never benefited us. We're not talking about DEI no more. They're basically banning certain words. These words are disappearing in the new Trump administration. It's not just DEI dodo birds that's disappearing. Hello, dodo bird. What's that? The great gazoo. Hello, dumb. You can't just, that's why you can't just repeat something Yvette or Antonio said and just try to run with it. Race and ethnicity, racial diversity, racial identity, racial inequality, racial justice, racially, racism, segregation. Those words are all disappearing.
You
that ain't nothing to
don't.
do with DEI. That's not diversity.
I'm holding y'all accountable.
That's you. That's me. Disappearing, erasure. And you run around still talking about something that we talked about, something that we said. A concept that wasn't even yours. Well, see, diversity never. We moved past diversity, Dodo Bird. We're talking about stuff that impacts you and your life. Now, that's where we are. And you run around talking about what Umar did and what y'all see. And I tell you what, and he ought not. He is inconsequential. He is a joke. Laugh and have fun. But do not spend no time thinking about this man. That laugh should last you 5 seconds. Then you should move on to the next thing because life is deadly serious right now. Well, I tell you, I don't know. I mean, what you think about it. No, you ain't got time to talk about that. Hey, if you want to know, well, how you going to tell man got time, Yvette? Show me your checking account, savings account, and investment accounts. Send me screenshots, and I'll tell you what time you got. And even then, you don't have enough rights. Even if you had enough wealth, you don't have enough rights. But I know for you ain't enough wealth to be spending your time this way.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Pause. We did everything that you did when you marched on Washington with those few little protesters that you had. And what was that guy who's the guy that owns Comcast? Who's the guy that owns Comcast? I forgot. I forgot. I mean, you fell for the trick. You fell for that trick one time. And then once he got his little grit money, you went to the next best thing and you said, we're going to vote down as Democrats. Is it Ted Turner? No, it's the black guy. It's some black guy. I forgot. But anyway, you wanted to vote down, which I mean, do what you will, but you in Tone Talks, and I have no ill will towards Tone Talks. As a matter of fact, I don't even know that guy. But both of y'all in shit, and you calling everybody else doodle birds, but you have this situation coming up where Donald Trump has signed a dozen executive orders within 101 days. 101 days, and this man has not been impeached. You talk about impeachment. I ought to do the thing, and shouts out to Reese Waters. Shouts out to that brother. Shout to, oh my God. I gotta put up with this. Oh God. Hey, Hoops. Hi, how are you? Jesus Christ, I gotta put up with it. Jesus.
It don't make no sense to be a fool all your life, to be spending your time watching a fool. Yeah, we over here with the school. We just got to get the plumbing. Oh, my God. I remember we did his first walkthrough 5 years ago, pre-COVID. Well, see, the white man ran away with the stuff. It's comical. It's a joke. But anybody who's taking this man seriously and telling him to show up somewhere or showing up to see him somewhere, don't you better use of your time?
Right now, all the universities that he's been to, they've all sold out. What about your venues, ma'am? I'm just stating. And he's been through a couple of universities, a couple of HBC, what you call them, HBCUs? At least twice. And they've all sold out. I don't know. Man's doing great to me.
You can't even.
He could say something while he's on the toilet shitting. Pause. He could be on the toilet taking the deuce and set up something, and he'll be right at that some bitch within a matter of a couple of days and sell out. Now he doesn't sell out all the time, but at some university, I gotta look to that university that he.
To go see him in a comedy show right now. There's too much going on. Telling you that we can't use words that mean us. Some of y'all, we're just going through a little bit of this. Seems like that a lot of people are missing. If you didn't see the Patreon show, we did a lot on the Patreon show about Department of Education. Did a lot. Talked a lot about it.
Oh, he was at Oakwood University in LA. This is in LA. Oakwood University, and sold out. This is not his first go round, and it will not be his last. Definitely. And you're accusing them of what exactly? All I'm going to say is this, because I have a little bit more respect for her, like I said, versus Tariq Nasheed. Tariq Nasheed will come out with a puppet, come out with some deodorant. He said, I'm with the Sandman of McDonald's. I'm with the Sandman. He did all that. But then he gets sued by Brandon. He gets sued by Brandon and wins his case. Shouts out to Pan-Afrikan Strikes Back.
About it. Right? Did a lot about it. But, and broke through the budget and how the budget is a lot for grants. I mean, we're talking about Pell, we're talking about student loans, we're talking about poor kids and kids with disabilities. That's where a lot of it goes. We talked a lot about that. So I'm not going to go back into that because some people, well, I don't understand. The kids in Baltimore and Chicago ain't learning. The federal government doesn't come up with your curriculum. Figure out who does what. That's not where it comes from. And figure out what all reasons why our child might not be. Don't just show up for infotainment. Don't just appear to scream and talk about stuff you don't know about. Don't do that. Let's not do that. I can tell. Listen, some of y'all, I can tell that what you do is only watch Umar. It's like I can tell. You ain't hiding nothing from nobody. Well, I don't know if they can tell. I can tell that's what you watch. I can tell who you watch by what you say. I can tell the information you take in by how you talk and what your learning gaps are, what your knowledge gaps are. I can tell. We all can. We all looking at your side eye. Under pressure from the U.S. DOJ service team to root out alleged fraud, the Social Security Administration is considering dramatically curtailing the phone services that 73 million retired and disabled Americans rely on to apply for and access their earned government benefits, according to two briefed on internal deliberations and records obtained by the Washington Post. Now, let's discuss this for 1 second about what this could possibly mean. And you say, well, it ain't done yet. Well, did you hear about it? Did you know it was going to be done? Do you have a problem with it? And I'm just not talking about the olders and the elders of today, because they're going to have to start getting up and fighting too. They can't just chill out. They better get up too. They already done cut your offices. They finna cut some other stuff. You better get up, get the walker ready, get your cane together. But also, those of you all who may be middle-aged, like me, and we gone before we know it, might have to go and apply for some benefits. How do you feel about all of these closures? How do you feel about them closing a lot of physical offices, especially in rural areas, and now they're going to cut phone service? How do you feel about your government not servicing you? Isn't that something that we should have a conversation about? Before we start talking about Umar and what he's doing and following his every move and how he want the grit money and the burger money and the brioche bun money and the lunch and brunch money, the turkey bacon money, he want all the money. Before we start talking about,
I am kind of hungry. She talking about all this food and shit, and I am kind of hungry. Let me say.
You can send all donations to P.O. Box, whatever. And you haven't created anything. People gave you over a decade, and you still like, we working on it, fam. Before we talk about that, talk about this. Isn't this something that should be up for conversation? And I'm gonna tell you why. I want to show you why. Before I get too deep into it, I want you to understand why that should be up for conversation. We are.
Like, share, and subscribe. And if you're charitable, which I know you guys are, give a little donation to the coffee fund. $1 or $2 will definitely help. Thank you.
And this was a good kind of synopsis. Political powerlessness. We are a politically powerless group behaving as if we are a group of actual kings and queens. That's part of the reason I hate this Pan-Africanism, because it has really made people believe that y'all actually are kings and queens, as opposed to the people who have always had to fight our way up from nothing. If you see yourself as somebody who comes from people who doggedly fought year by year, generation by generation, then you behave differently. If you feel like you are a member of some kind of ridiculous aristocracy, monarchy, then you behave accordingly. You are confused. You are not a king. You are not a queen. I am not a queen. I'm somebody who comes from a generation of fighters, so I am a fighter. And so I pay attention to intel when it comes my way. See, if you are a warrior, you pay attention to intel when it comes your way. If you think you are a king or a queen, you like the court jesters when they come and they start dancing. You love that. Because you think you're king, queen, you just sit back. Oh, I like this. I enjoy this. Don't you enjoy it? I enjoy it too. I enjoy it so much. But if you understand that you come from fighters and you are politically powerless in a country that you built and your ancestors built, you behave very differently. You pay attention to outcomes very differently. That's what happens. And so what happens with a lot of people is that you are very confused and you think that you have time. You think that you have time to pay attention to Umar and debate his way. Maybe we should go his way. Meanwhile, everything that people have fought for, from the civil rights movement to the labor movement to all of that, everything that people have fought for, New Deal, all of that is going up in smoke. And on my timeline, it's way too many Negroes talking about Mr. Grit Money. I don't want to hear let me just show you some of the what powerlessness kind of means. My first goal, and this is from the article, my first goal in this article then is to offer a definition of political powerlessness that makes theoretical sense. The definition I recommend is as follows. A group is relatively powerless if its aggregate policy preferences are less likely to be enacted than those of similarly sized classified groups. I'm gonna say it one more time. A group is relatively powerless if its aggregate policy preferences are less likely to be enacted than those of similarly sized and classified groups. Listen, we don't even have to go to similarly sized groups. Let me tell you what we can do. We can look at groups that are actually smaller than us and figure out that they have more power than us. We don't got to.
Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. It's Byron Allen. This is the same man who either had a stake or owned Comcast and was fighting for what? What exactly? You didn't fight for anything because all you did was just take the money and run. Some you are.
we don't have to even go far enough to say, hey, let's find a similarly sized group. We can look at every group because every group is smaller. We can look at every group that is smaller and say they have more power. We're a politically powerless group. Let's look at some of the other kind of criterion takeaways. I just want you to pay attention to this while we are around talking about Umar and his grit money and his daughter, and you still, well, maybe he did. Child, he was unserious a long time ago. You got to be crazy to still be taking that man and thinking about and talking more than 5 seconds about what he say. That's a 2-second chuckle. Yeah, I know he was always messed up and move on. First, the powerlessness factor stems from the third paragraph of Caroline's Products' famous fourth footnote. In relevant part, this paragraph states that more searching judicial inquiry may be needed when the operation of those political processes ordinarily to be relied upon to protect minorities is curtailed. It states that heightened scrutiny may apply when a minority wields less power than it would if the political system were functioning properly. If this political system were functioning properly, we would have power. I will go further to say if it was functioning properly, we would have wealth. So the fact that we stay powerless for generations with just minor little hiccups lets you know that we are a powerless group. Powerless groups don't have time to discuss, spend a lot of time discussing LeBron James and his rich son. Those are rich people. We don't have the delusional man who makes videos in the park. We don't got time for that either. Okay. Second, the mechanism that
you don't have time for anything. You just spew stuff out your mouth all the time. We ain't got time for this. We ain't got time for this. We ain't got time for the nigga in the Jerry curl. We ain't got time for the McDonald's the McDonald's guy, McGriddle. We only got time for this one. We ain't got time for Tariq Nasheed. Now Tariq Nasheed roasted you. Now, but you're an easy roaster. You're easy to roast. But again, I'm not messy. I'm not messy like that because I could show you countless of videos of this Negro going at Yvette and it could have been more professional. It could have been more professional, but then again, FBAs are they're just messy. They're messy individuals. Yeah, messy individuals. Go pro-Trump. What did the pro-Trump post say? I do want to show you something. And Lisa, this is credited to you, my dear. But I gotta set it up.
Start to protect minorities is in the word pluralism. If innumerable groups endlessly are forming and breaking alliances as they jockey for advantage, then each group sometimes will find itself in the majority. No group will be a perennial loser if the winning coalition is reshuffled on each issue. But who is always a loser? No matter how the thing is reshuffled, throw your hand up because you're in that group. And third, Pluralism does not always work as intended. Sometimes a group is unable to cut deals with its counterpart, so it ends up being outvoted on item after item. It is precisely in this situation when a group loses unexpectedly often that group is relatively powerless. Ladies and gentlemen, who is that? Who is this relatively powerless group? Who is that, ladies and gentlemen? I would like for somebody to make me aware. See, when you understand who you are and when you understand what your position is, then you're more apt to play your position. You're more apt to understand that, hey, I can't play around like this. I can't be silly. I can't be foolish like this. I can't do this. I cannot do this. I have to focus, especially when we have a government like this. Listen. And it goes on to say that I think, and this is one time I actually agree with Scalia. Scalia said a group, affluence equals influence. So he said, even though they didn't necessarily agree with him, but I think he's right. He said that the more influence that a group has, the more affluence that it has, the more influence that it has. And they were talking about the LGBTQ community, the more affluence, the more influence. So he said that they're not an afflicted group because they have affluence. But they decided that they didn't have as much power because they said they have the same money as everybody. Having the same money, I don't know how that makes you less powerful, but whatever. I'm saying that if you cross all the metrics though, when you're talking about us, it's obvious who we are. It's obvious what we are.
Yeah, we're a $2.8 billion, I want to say, consuming people. I want to say that we make the most money, but we're the most consuming some bitches on the face of this planet. I have a stake in it too. I admit I have a stake in it too. That's why we have to spend smarter. I mean, but don't get me wrong, I spend with my people. That's why, I mean, I have evidence of that to this very day, but they always, I mean, the clothing, like, for example, the clothing line that I used to buy and purchase from is like, they always sell out of everything that I want. Everything. I can't even find, Ramomar is a black-owned company. Is a black-owned online company, right? But he created his own shoe, and those shoes look fire. Go to Ramomar, New York. Go to RamomarNewYork.com. Those shoes that he created are fire. They're all sold out. Can't even find a freaking 13. Each shoe that he comes out with, each shirt, each flannel. I got my denim jacket that I purchased from him. Right. I love it. I like it. As you can see, this is his clothing line. Right? This is his clothing line. This is what I purchased. Right? Well, just so that's what I purchased from him. And I purchased some other stuff too. So we're the most consumed. Now, if we're the most consumed, I would just assume that we would spend our money on black-owned companies. But unfortunately,
a group that is this group.
Let's skip to this crap.
Of those deceased people or their relatives were actually receiving benefits. The DOS team appeared to drop the matter. It was all a lie. So they but it spread. Listen, it does spread around the internet like wildfire, and that's how propaganda works. Propaganda works this way, especially on the internet. What happens is something happens. People online develop a storyline around it. No evidence at all. I don't care who it is. I don't care who the propagandist is. They develop a storyline around it. By the time somebody investigates and figure out what the truth is, the fools among us have run with the storyline. So that's just the way propaganda works. Propaganda is running around the world with tennis shoes on, and the truth is waking up like, oh, okay, I think I got it. That's the way it works. But this stuff is serious because it affects people like us. It affects the wealthless. It affects people who don't have. It affects people who have been multi-generationally oppressed. See, what we tried to get the Biden administration to do, the Biden administration promised something, and all Democrats, it's not just Biden. All Democrats promised something. They said, we stand for something, and that something includes ADOS. That's what they said. And so what we were trying to do and have always been trying to do with Democrats is say, stand by your word to us. We are the base of your Democratic Party. Stand by what you said. You said you believed in racial justice. You said you believed in repair. Stand by.
And you believed it. You believed every single word that Biden has stated to you. And you fell for the bullshit. That's on you. It's on you. And now all of a sudden you're the victim. And you want to lash out at Umar. Okay.
That was our message for Democrats. Stand by what you said, the commitment that you made to us. You made commitments to us, and you stand by your commitment to everybody else except us. Stand by your commitment. That was the argument that we were making to Democrats, right? Pulling them in alignment with their philosophy, pulling them in alignment with their own agenda, pulling them in alignment with working class people and ADOS people.
Lisa, you
right?
get it?
That's what we were trying to do. But you can't say in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, I'm going to hold Democrats accountable for X, Y, and Z. And then when a Republican gets in office, you go quiet. You cannot do that. That does not work. You cannot do that. And we were rightfully. Now, you might not get it as
Lisa, do you get all of this rhetoric? I mean, it's like one thing led to another. I mean, you basically took, this is what you did. You got a tall glass with nothing in it, right? Expecting for sweet what? You expected for some lemonade, which you didn't make lemons out. You didn't make lemonade out of the lemons that you had, but instead you depended on somebody who wasn't going to give you shit. You know what he did? You know what Biden did? Pulled down he unzipped his pants, pulled out his little wiener, and proceed to give you what you expected. That's not me talking. That's them. That's not me. That's not me projecting. That's them. I am not a Republican nor a Democrat. I did not vote for Biden. Nor did I vote for Trump. Nor did I vote for Kamala. I don't do shit shows. I don't. Every once and again, I will get upset and I'll start cussing out motherfuckers. But I'm telling you right now that I did not vote. But it's just like him, just like a person pissing on me and telling me that it's raining. I'm not a subject to that. Y'all are. I'm not. So when people constantly keep asking me who would I vote for, I was like, I vote independent, sir. Ma'am. You're a racist. Call me whatever you want. You're a sexist. Call me whatever you want. But when that person don't do for you, she promised us grants. We're due a lot of money. I don't want a grant. I want my 40 acres and a mule and $100. That's what I want. Give me what is owed. Owed. Tax free. Tax free. I'm on my Umar kit. Tax free. I don't want donations. Donations. I want a check. Where am I going to get the check from? I don't care. Who's going to give you the check? I don't care. Blow it out your ass, whatever you want, however you get it. I just want what's owed to me. That's it. That's all. Craig said, "Keep dreaming, pal." I mean, hey, I'm gonna say it to you like this: people don't want what they need or claim to what they want because they don't know how to properly vet to get it, and not realizing it's going to take either changing your status or, my personal favorite, you're going to have to do some bloodshedding. But people nowadays with painted toenail, dudes with painted fingers and painted toenails, and I saw something today that pissed me off. Kid Cudi wore a dress. This is new to me. I like the day and night. The lonely loner seen the free his mind at night. I like that song. But then I saw something on the internet that this nigga wear a dress. Damn, we are willing to sell our souls. Not me. And y'all love him or hate him. I love Corey Holcomb. I love Eddie Griffin. They did not sell their souls. So this is the reason that they're in the position that they are. They're not millionaires. Eddie Griffin and Corey Holcomb are not millionaires. They got money, but they're not millionaires because they are not willing to sell their souls. For what? Once you get an Oscar, that means your grape hole is gonna be that big. Call it what you want.
Much, but this stuff is unlike anything we've ever seen. This is not George W. Bush, H.W. Bush, even though a lot of corruption, a lot of cuts, a lot of awful stuff, but this is worse than that. You cannot say you have less leverage here, but you cannot say I am going to hold Democrats accountable for X, Y, and Z. And then when Trump gets in office, you go quiet. And I'm just going to put it out there. I've said it before. I see a lot of Republican shields. People love to say me, and it's shield, not shield. People love to go, hey, that's a Democratic shield. I see a lot of Republican shields out here. I see a lot of people just shielding for nothing and ain't getting nothing. I see a lot of people. We have always said politics, voting is an exchange, not a gift. Some of you all voted this way, whether it was, and some people voted just as a protest. Others of you really had hope, right? Fine. I had hope. I thought Obama was going to, fine. Once you realize that it's going in a different direction, what is your reaction now? You cannot go quiet and you cannot say, well, he had Black History Month. I thought y'all still going, I thought that he was going to cancel Black History Month. They had Black History Month party. You saw Black History Month. Black History Month, a party of Negroes at the Black History Month event last month is not quantifiable. It is not tangible. It is purely symbolic. I saw a lot of people making fun of Roland Martin because Roland Martin called the people who was at the Republican thing, he called them a name or whatever. And somebody, they was going around, they was roasting Roland Martin, calling him a little turkey, all kind of stuff, little chicken feather man, all kind of stuff they was roasting that man. Here's the thing though. Understand, I roasted Roland Martin for dancing for Hillary Clinton. Those of you all who were, as all these cuts were happening, with Donald Trump grinning, y'all are Roland Martin. Y'all are the Roland Martin of the Republican Party. Do you not see that? You're the same thing. You're just doing it for a different party.
I don't know.
It's the same thing. And Hillary didn't get elected, so we don't know if there would have been an exchange. But he.
What a if, what a coulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah, go ahead. I didn't. Yeah. So no, I agree with you. Like, I don't think people understand that. Well, we gotta cut. Nobody's cutting anything. Like, they're about to throw a bunch of more money to rich folks. There's nothing is getting cut. The stuff for us is getting cut, right? So that the money can go elsewhere. It's not, and so they can bring in AI to.
What money? The money that you have is gone. It's gone. You have no money. The hell are you talking about? The one thing that really irks my nerves is the money that you spend for campaigning for this for that particular one. Let's just call it what it is, Kamala Harris. All that money is gone. What was it? $13 million that women alone raised? Well, it was what? 4 point something. I don't know. Most of that money came from the women. And you wasted valuable resources, effort, time, and space to do what? Appoint somebody in office which wasn't going to make it in office, because Trump, even though Trump is not even a president to me, he's not my president because I didn't vote for the motherfucker, but he is very smart. And those swing states, you weren't gonna get those swing states no goddamn way. This late in the game, no, you had to work for them. You would definitely have to work for them. I don't know what Obama did to work those swing states, but he got those swing states for a reason. Because possibly a promise that was made to who? Black conservatives. I'm not liberal. I don't even know what that shit is. I'm not even know, because I'm not even a political figure like that. But I'm starting to learn. How this shit works. And you know how this shit works? Republican, Democrat. Get my drift?
To do the job that government workers do. They're training AI. Like, this is not something to protect America, to protect workers. That's not what's happening here. And I am disappointed by the number of people in this kind of lineage space who just won't own that. Like, it's shilling.
It is chilling. But I just wanted to come on and say
table, and I don't even think we understand that, like, people like Musk doesn't seem like a person who values humanity in a way that is necessary if you want to be a part or have any kind of leadership in government. You should value humans for the sake of their humans. I think he values robots a lot more than that. So to not talk about that, or to be talking about Umar or something, it just doesn't make sense. Umar is just an example. It's a lot of examples. Like, the Negro timeline on Twitter or elsewhere is just different. It's full of trash, and we got to throw the trash away. But go on, fam. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the last thing I want to make is, your audience, if they don't realize, maybe this is not going to affect me. It just might. So get your bedroom ready for your elder mom and dad, because we ain't going to be able to afford to live on our loan. So clean up the room, because we're coming back to live with our child. Okay.
And let me add one thing to that, fam. Some people don't even understand how other things work, right? So I live in an ADOS community, right? Got a grocery store nearby, within like 3 miles, right? But even when you talk about Medicaid cuts, a disproportionate number of people on Medicaid, or who benefit from Medicaid, or the government in general, are in my community because of we're disproportionately poor. We get lower wages, we get lower salaries, and there's a history of oppression, right? This wage discrimination, employment discrimination. So we have a lot more people in my community on Medicaid, on food stamps, right? So what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when those people don't have the Medicaid or don't have the food stamps or the help to go to the grocery store. What you're going to start to witness also, if all this stuff goes through, is that you're going to start to see grocery stores close. Because you don't know how depending on where you are, you don't know what proportion of that grocery store's money or earnings come from help that people get from the government. And so it's all a trickle effect. So people always say, well, I'm not getting it. Well, I'm not getting it either, but it still impacts my community.
Don't let her call you a dodo bird because you don't know what you're talking about with the whole Elon Musk thing. You don't know what you're talking about. He likes playing with robots.
In ways that will impact me in very tangible ways, right? I'm not even talking about the fact that I care. I'm talking about the fact that, okay, I have to go now. Where I got to go to the white neighborhood now to get fresh fruits and vegetables because they decided to. So we're all knitted. I've said it all the time, fam. But we either rise together or fall together, and I don't think we understand all the ways in which that happens.
I definitely.
Which was just play dead. Right. Oh, wait a minute. It's me too? Yes, you too, big boy.
Such a crucial thing as far as gaining any kind of wealth or just kind of pulling yourself out of the generational curse that we, for some reason, we kind of keep getting stuck in. I would say, too, like the so-called, people who call themselves leaders that, they have a lot of followers. They like to talk about, well, back in the 60s, you were taken out of the home. The problem is feminism. They latch on to those issues. But it's like we've got issues happening right now. They're living in the past, hanging on to that struggle porn. But, I mean, we have problems now. And I think there's too much of a thing of those folks just kind of latching.
I hate talking to stupid people. I really do. Talk stupid, you get a stupid answer. Ask me a stupid question, I'll give you a stupid answer. People often say this all the time. Well, you always go back to the 50s and the 60s, and blah 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 blah. These are first of all, these are not for you per se. These are for the children. These are for mainly the young cats who don't know the history because history itself is erasing through our very eyes. We're the only gatekeepers to Black history. Pretty soon that's going to be null and void because nobody wants to even know their fucking history. That's why I thank God for John Henry Clark and others for even pouring out real history, real Black history to you. Dr. Clark Anderson did the same thing. He poured out real Black history to you. It's not for everybody because not everybody gives a damn. Not everybody cares about where you come from. Not everybody cares about what the first helicopter was being invented. Nobody cares about who invented the peanut. Nobody cares about who invented the shoe. The actual what was it? Who was the first doctor who did the heart surgery? The first black surgeon who did heart surgery. No one gives a fuck about none of that shit. No one cares. But give some of these youngins a chance to at least learn from that. Because history does repeat itself. It's like I hate talking about stupid people.
Going to the 60s and saying, well, back in the 60s, well, this happened in the 60s.
And I
get that those things happen.
But half of the stuff they say happened didn't even happen. But to your point, don't tell me, well, back in the 60s we was married and don't tell me that if you're not married now and you got kids. Like, don't tell me like we were a family in the 60s when like you're not a family now. Like, and you have listen, for me, and I'm gonna let you continue, Carl. I'm not cutting you off. But for me, the thing about Umar is like if your child reaches out to you and says, I don't care if your child reaches out to you and say, can I have a piece of bubble gum? right? Like if they text you, you got some gum or what? I don't care. That's an opportunity to have a conversation. That's an opportunity to open up that door and have a relationship. The last thing I am going to do is weaponize my following on my child. Like I try not to, unless you are a real, I think you are a real enemy of me and the people. I try not to weaponize you on, like, I'm not going to take, I don't punch down. I try not to. But sometimes when people think they up, you got to punch down. They'll know they down. But I'm not going to say my child is a struggle stream or what. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to say that. That would never come from me. Now, I may say whatever I say to that child, and I may provide whatever correction one-on-one if I had a child, but I'm not doing that. And I don't think people understand that these people who are trying to teach you can tell you nothing. But go ahead, fam. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm sorry.
That's a contradiction. And even so, I'll say it again. We don't know. But I guess she's kind of like late to the party or whatever, so I'll give her a pass.
But that's why it's hard to take people like him seriously, and I think that's why other communities have a hard time overall taking us seriously. I think they see that for the most part, not all of us, there's definitely people in our community like you and other people that are doing serious things, but there's so many of us that are not serious that it kind of just puts a black cloud over everything.
Well, you know that you
others like him telling black people in masses that their big followings to stay away from politics. That's where the power is. When you go to like the Congressional Black Caucus website, they say they're pushing an agenda for black people and minorities. But when you go to those other caucus websites, they're focused specifically on their groups and nothing else and what they can do for their groups. So, I think,
which we've been waiting for years now. People will come to me with little tangible type of things, but we still have no grocery stores. We still have no real estate. We're realtors, but with no real estate. Let's see. We have no subdivisions. We have no hospitals. We have no airports anymore. The last one was in Atlanta. That's gone. We have no distributions. We have no schools. So, what are we talking about again?
The leaders in our community, they're not necessarily the so-called leaders of people that have been put in place. Saying what they will do for us specifically. They should, all the black leaders, that entire Black Caucus should be focused on reparations for us, not just a study for us, but actually getting those reparations. And it's like they're scared to do that because they don't want to upset other members of their party.
Well, it's not just that. Like, one of the things that you have to do is that you have to get a mass of people behind you, right? So I agree that they should, right? I agree. But the problem is you can't even, like, you still have too many Negroes who, if you say reparations, they don't understand that they're poor. Like, they really don't understand. They'll say, I have this kind of income. I make 85. Like, you don't understand that 85 is not, 85 wasn't 85 in 2019. 85 sure enough ain't 85 with multi-generational oppression. 85 sure enough ain't 85 in 2025 with inflation. But they will tell you, I make 85, I get out the mud, I don't need it. We're still at a place where we don't have enough people on the ground who are pushing for something, right? Who are pushing for this thing, who are pushing for reparation and transformative Black agenda. Like, we don't have enough people. Like, you wouldn't even get enough people to push for a study. I agree that I would like to see something beyond that. We're owed something beyond that, and we should demand something beyond that. But it's when
demand what? What are we demanding? To go to a specific place at a specific time, right? Spend a ridiculous amount of money, right? And talk about what? The same old, we're going to vote down Democratic. we're gonna do this for Kamala. We're gonna do this for Jasmine Crockett. We're gonna do this for Mrs. Waters, which Miss Waters looks good, by the way. I'm not gonna lie to you. For a close to a 7-year-old woman, she looks great. But anyway, I'll vote for. We're gonna do something for Mrs. Waters, and we're gonna try to get these grants. You have no money to raise, and you have 2 years with this man. 2 years with Donald Trump. Just sit back, relax, and hope that Donald Trump makes a mistake. Right now, he's just doing what he's doing for 101 days, signing executive orders, and just going to the golf course and hitting one. Or he doesn't even know how to golf, but that's all he's doing, fam. You had ample time to find someone notable. You know what? I'm not gonna even go there.
The demanding comes that we have a problem. It would be easier for me to get people to DC for a concert than it would be to get the people to DC for a reparations march.
And that's what I mean about the being serious thing. I mean, people probably, obviously, we live in a paternalistic society. Men in these other groups, and I'm not talking down on our men when I say this, but just overall, men in these other groups, even the ones that are smaller than ours that you mentioned have gained some type of power in their communities, either politically or just amongst themselves. Those men in those communities are seeking power, and they're seeking to put themselves in positions of power, not giving the people in their community, other Black people, messages like don't get involved in politics, choose the chair or choose the couch or whatever. They're not getting those types of messages in mass the way we are.
We're not saying don't get involved in politics. We can get involved in whatever that you throw in front of us if it does something tangible. A little bit more on the forefront of, we're going to get our 40 acres in the mill. Are we going to get our reparations? Right? All this little horizontal shit, nah, not existent. That little plan that, and shouts out to Ice Cube for that. Are we gonna like apply to those terms? No, we'll do it when we feel like it. Vote for us. But come to find out, like months later, that same plan suddenly was mimicked by Donald Trump. Oh boy. He said, what do you got to lose? What do you got to lose? Your cities are down. You're being hunted. As you're doing most of the hunting. What do you got to lose? Vote for me. Vote for me, Stigley. Yes, we're gonna do fine. We're gonna do great. We're gonna do great under my rule. And no, I'm not gonna listen. Free speech is free speech. What did I say? What was it? Pre-signing day. The first time he got in office, he signed off on free speech. Now every white person is calling you nigga every chance that they get. And they are not only calling you nigga, but they're cussing other white people out. I'll even show it to you. I'll even show it to you. It's crazy. It's crazy right now. People are really crashing out. White folks, even white farmers that trusted Donald Trump, are cussing him out.
Halls and just raising havoc. It's their last performance.
You have a problem with that?
Paid agitators, the people you see on Capitol Hill, paid agitators. How would you even have any indication if the feeling on the ground is any different way? But in light of all of that, there were a few of you who, despite the writing on the wall and and the halls of Congress and all over your districts, you decided to do it anyway. How'd that work out for you?
Hello, everyone. We're very excited to be back in Wyoming, where I
Man, this sounds like that comedy show I did over at Bowie State University in 2006.
Damn.
But even that
crashing out. Crashing out.
That wasn't this bad.
What I would like you to do is, I see a lot of signs around, and I understand what you're trying to say. I get it. I can. That's what we're saying.
He trying to get in the supercut. No, that's all. No, he trying to get in the supercut because he's seen the videos and he knows how I felt about Don't Bend Over and the people they yell at. Yeah, no, he trying to get in the supercut. Hey, put him in the supercut.
I would really like you to please come down on the floor so that the people behind you can see. I think that that's the least we can do to be respectful to our fellow citizens. So if you would do that for me, that would be great.
Now this is Harriet Hagman of Wyoming, and that was quick thinking. I will give you credit for that one, Harriet. That was definitely quick thinking. That's not gonna save you though. That's not gonna save you.
ADOS is not dismantling Social Security. And even with reconciliation, we are not allowed to touch Social Security. The work that I have specifically been doing, I am on the Judiciary Committee and the Natural Resources Committee.
I worked for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, helping Wyoming family farmers deal with drought until I was fired a month ago in the mass firings, and despite only having the highest marks in my performance review. In a state where so many farmers rely on government programs for drought and disaster relief, Trump's plans to cut these programs and the people who administer them, coupled with the tariffs, will decimate Wyoming farms and rural communities. What are you doing about that?
I disagree.
Now you just have to take note of the amount of emotional intelligence or lack thereof that it takes to hear somebody tell their personal story of struggle and calmly and coldly reply, I disagree.
Not only did they get played, but they got their asshole tore up with no Vaseline. It's like that. When you vote down or vote up or whatever, when you don't demand stuff right off the bat, that's a problem. That's a very big problem. And they can do anything that they want for the next 2 to 4 years. And you got the nerve to start snapping. Now white people are snapping. White folks snap. Black folks, take my advice. Let's take a back seat. Let's sit down, pop some popcorn. That sweet and sour popcorn. I love that sweet and sour popcorn. Just get some sweet sour popcorn. Get your favorite drink or whatever, and just sit back and relax because white people is crashing out. Let them crash out. Let's just do this just go ahead and relax and enjoy the shit show.
Because you could disagree with the way that they perceive things, or you could disagree with their political beliefs, But how do you disagree with their I didn't ask you if you agree with my experience. This is what I didn't know that was even an option that was available to us. 2025 is bringing all kinds of new things. I waited up for you last night. I was up till 4 a.m. and you still hadn't come home, only for you to come in and wake me up at 5 just to jump into the shower. I disagree.
I disagree. I come from the ag community. I'm well aware of what kind of programs are out there. It's so bizarre to me how obsessed you are with federal government.
She just told her angry constituents, it's bizarre to me how obsessed you are with federal government. She is creative. I will give her that. She is creative. You know, don't y'all got jobs? Why y'all worried about how I'm doing my job? No, because for years we got to be in office and grift under a cloak of silence. Nobody.
Federal government, but here's the thing. It's so bizarre to me how obsessed you are with federal government. But here's the thing. Calm down. Calm down. All ADOS is doing is you guys are going to have a heart attack if you don't calm down. I'm sorry. Your hysteria is just really over the top.
Just sit back, relax, and let them people crash out. Can I get a couple more likes? Can I get a couple more likes? Go ahead and hit that like button, fam. Go ahead and hit that like button for me. Thank you so much.
I can't tell you that anything will change or anything can be different. I can't explain my actions, but why don't y'all just calm down, just for the sake of your families, whose stories, by the way, I don't believe. Now, how about the fact that hysteria is
you and your colleagues and others to actually trap?
What they've started doing is posting claims about things they've cut. In this case, grant payments. They've cut grants that were going to go to some nonprofits. But unlike in the past, they don't tell you the ID number of the grant. They don't tell you the people that were supposed to receive it. They don't tell you anything other than, here's the agency that gave it. Here's how much we saved by cutting it. That's not enough to fact check it. Basically, that's just them putting a number out into the world that there's no way to go back and verify. So the transparency that they had been doing before, which allowed us to fact check and find all those errors you were talking about, that's gone. These are just uncheckable numbers.
And I just want to be clear, when you previously found, the errors, the $8 billion, which was really $8 million, did they apologize? Did they explain how that happened? Did they point out that, we're going to remove this now? Or was this just kind of done, at night, no one's looking, suddenly it just disappears like somebody in Charlie Brown's Spelling Bee who gets it wrong?
In almost every case, they didn't explain why it was deleted. It just vanished. In some cases, the errors went away and then came back. The largest item on their list of canceled contracts is wrong. Now it's one that they deleted and then put back. But in most cases, they would just disappear and never say why.
And I know politics is not one of y'all best strong suits. It is not. Trump is talking about cutting jobs for months before he won. This was not out on left field. But explain that to the people who are actually losing their jobs. As a matter of fact, explain it to the white people that you love so much. Explain it to them. Explain it to the farmers that are losing their farms. Explain it to them. Don't explain it to me. I ain't losing shit. Well, this last little clip And let's just say I honestly wanted to do some. I want to do some stuff, but I want to save it for ladies' night. I definitely want to save it for ladies' night, and I'm trying to pick the people who want to participate. I already got two. I need about three more. So I just want to pick the people who are going to participate in this because I need to know a couple things. And one of them is, why do women get blamed for every fucking thing? It is quite a trip. And I got my notes together. I'm going to bring a couple questions. I'm going to work on some questions and rewrite some questions, but that's the primary one I need to know. It's like, why do y'all get blamed for every goddamn thing? Right? That it just don't make no sense. So I want to save that for that show. But this is the nigga you love to hate. I mean, he did an interview with Carl Singleton. Anybody who know who Carl Singleton is, may he rest in power. But Dr. Umar was interviewed by this guy. Fair use, fair use.
Man, no doubt. So we're gonna roll on into living into America. And the first thing I want to touch on, of course, is the January 6th racist riots that took place. Our theme has been living into Americas. We wanted to talk clearly about what was seen, how it was handled. We don't even need to talk about if it was Black people. We already know that part. Let's talk about why there was no real consequences till this day. While there has not been any real action to ensure that this would never happen again. In fact, things are, in essence, from my perspective, allowed to be perpetuated for another one, should the other side so choose to. Let's talk a bit about living in two Americas, especially.
2 points.
All right.
2 points that I would bring up with the Capitol riots. Point number one is white privilege.
Okay.
We saw white privilege on display in a way we haven't seen in quite a long time. We've seen white people scale buildings, beat up police, vandalize offices, and almost nothing was done to them. And then in the aftermath of the Capitol riots, we saw elected officials defend the Capitol riots and say that they had a constitutional right to do what they did. Now, the irony and the hypocrisy of the Capitol riot lies in the fact that white folk were upset that they lost an election. They lost an election and they overran the Capitol. Black people are losing our lives on a daily basis. And we're told to stand down and accept the rule of law. So how is it that when a Black person is unjustifiably murdered, we are told to stand down and accept the rule of law, but white folks can merely lose an election? Not a life, not a life. They lost an election and were allowed to overrun the Capitol. But when Black people lose our lives, we're supposed to accept the rule of law. But here's the other point as to why it was accepted by the white power structure to let white folk do what they did. The Civil War, although 150 years old, is still very fresh in America's memory. And America understands that this country is held together by the thinnest of threads. I'm not talking Black folks, I'm talking white folks. By the thinnest of threads. And this country also knows that there are more arms and guns in the hands of white civilians than is in the hands of the U.S. military. Now, the U.S. military has better weapons, but the American public has more weapons. And if you were to put 500,000 U.S. soldiers against 400 million white folks. I think we all know who wins that war. So when you talk about your right to govern comes from the consent of the public, that holds very true. That Fourth Amendment, that right to bear, has this government walking on eggshells when it comes to not upsetting the everyday white American, because the Civil War can happen again. It can very much happen again. And this government knows that what all these white folks have been through these past couple years, they had better tread lightly. If they would have mowed down those white folks the way they would have done black folks, a second Civil War may have been triggered, and they know it. That's why they stood down. America cannot win a war against its own white citizens.
I hear you. I hear you. You also touched on the Breakfast Club. You touched on that piece, white supremacy, the agendas hiding behind black skin. You touched on feminism, LGBTQ, multiculturalism. You touched,
which nobody believes, by the way. Everybody just wants to. In this case, everybody wants everything to be normal, right? They don't believe in anything abnormal, because they heard about all the talks. They heard about we've been through Jim Crow, we've been through Dred Scott, we've been through a whole bunch of other shit, and they just want to just be a normal society. They just want to do what Martin Luther King used to preach about years ago. And that's kind of cowardly in my book, because you see, normal people would realize, again, if you piss on my head and if you tell me that it's raining, you're making it believable. If you're feeding me horse shit for 40 years, or let's go the preacher route. If you are feeding me the same old stale ass crackers, I mean, they're good for a month, but after 40 years and you've been fed the same old crackers, and someone comes to you with a Ritz, you're going to say, it's wrong for you to come with me a Ritz, and I got these same old saltine crackers. You know, those saltine crackers that absolutely make you sick, or excuse me, when you get sick, the first thing you do is buy those regular old saltine crackers. You know what I'm talking about. But then it's like you get a Ritz and you're like, this is the best damn cracker I ever had in my life. So, in other words, they keep feeding you this same old bullshit, but you keep falling for it. But then they disguise it in different ways, but it's the same old bullshit. But you just want to be normal, because we have millionaires everywhere. I've been told that our women are not faithful to us, or our women are not smiling with us. So you can't defeat the white man. You can't defeat the white man. You're not going to go against him. So the one thing you would like to do when you're being put on the forefront, you're being talked about all the time, and I do believe you're being talked about all the time, is being the inferior class. So what you do is you turn your attentions to the weaker sex, and that is black women. And you wonder why black women won't marry you. But again, I'm going to come up with that show. I'm going to come up with the show, Ladies' Night, and we can talk about it. We can definitely talk about that.
Touching on a bunch of stuff. I mean, that was fire. As always.
Yeah, those are the new faces of racism. See, and I want people to be very clear with where I stand. I love all black people. Gay, straight, feminist, whatever you into, lesbian. I love all black people. The reason I wanted to be a psychologist was to heal my people. That's why I got into the field. Although I love all black folks, doesn't mean I cannot disagree with them. And see, this is where the dictatorial culture of feminism and dictatorial culture of multiculturalism and the dictatorial culture of the LGBT community comes in. I take issue with the dictatorial culture of these three movements that have people feeling like if you disagree with me, you are automatically a hate monger. If you disagree with me, you automatically want to cause harm or hurt to me. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. I do therapy with homosexuals. I do therapy with abused women. I do therapy with people of other races. So I don't have an issue with that. But as a black man and as a Pan-Africanist who's concerned about the liberation and best interests of my people, I will disagree with anything that I feel is not a benefit to our community. Same-sex relationship, I don't see benefit of how you want to live your life. No, I don't. But don't ask me to endorse it. We don't have enough black men out here for black women as it is. How can I confirm or condone a man with a man when we got a shortage of men for our sisters? How can I, looking at the assault on the traditional black family, feminism, how can I sit back and look at an agenda that wants to demonize the black man and make him the scapegoat for everything the white man has done? I can't do that, feminists, and I'm not going to do it. I can't stand by and let people equate the Asian issue and the Latino issue and the poor white issue and the immigrant issue with the enslaved African issue and the offspring of the enslaved African issue. Homosexuals didn't build America, black people did. Latinos didn't build America, black people did. Irish, Italian, and Jewish immigrants didn't build America, black people did. So don't come in and say that your movement has to be married to mine. You came as an immigrant, I came as an import. I was once considered to not be a human being in this country. Before black people could fight to be free, we had to prove we were people. Nobody else in America has ever been enslaved but us. Nobody else in America came as an import but us. Nobody else in America was dehumanized but us. Nobody else in America was forbidden to get an education, even under threat of death or incarceration, but us. I have no problem. I wish Asians the best. I wish Latinos, I wish Irish the best. I wish Jews the best. I wish the Chinese and the East Indians the best. But you will not equate your struggle with mine. You put together, not what black men and women have been through. And at the end of the day, if it's that bad for you, you can go home. Black people can't go home because slavery destroyed the psychological umbilical cord that attached black America to black Africa. The white man created his own problem when he psychologically cut off the black man and woman from our ancestral homeland. Everybody got a home to go back to except American Africans because the white man stole our memory and stole our affinity and stole our connection to our ancestral homeland. So with all due respect, I respect all other groups, but don't you ever try to compare your struggle with the black man or woman's. Whenever you do that, I will reject it unapologetically so.
No apologies necessary. What I'm going to transition to at that point is you talk clearly about white supremacy. You talk clearly about the white Americans basically knowing that their numbers are dwindling. And you started highlighting the benefits of why Joe Biden, President Biden at this point, made an executive order specific to Asian Americans, and the anti-lynching law is still out there, yet to be passed. Talk about the history.
After 200 attempts.
After 200.
There have been 200 separate attempts to pass an anti-lynching bill in the U.S. Congress. These attempts go back to slavery itself.
Right.
200 separate bills introduced into the U.S. Congress to make the lynching of a black man or woman a federal crime. And guess what? 200 attempts and not one has passed. The Emmett Till anti-lynching bill is creeping through Congress again. Okay, introduced by Representative Bobby Rush, who served with the great Fred Hampton, chairman of the Illinois Black Panther Party. He's the one of the co-authors of it, but it still hasn't passed. But the anti-Asian hate bill passed the Senate on the first vote, and only one person voted against it. So how is it that Asians can get the approval that quick, and black people been trying for 400 years to make lynching a federal crime, and we haven't succeeded yet? Because America is still America. The black man and the black woman's life doesn't mean anything. Frederick Douglass wrote in his autobiography, one of them, he said he used to frequently hear white people say that the life of a Negro was worth but a nickel, and the life of a freed Negro wasn't worth but a penny. I forget the exact statement, but he basically talked about the lack of value that is placed upon black people. And we need to understand something too. We got to get back to African culture, because European culture values people based on family name, education, income, and assets. Family name, education, income, and assets.
That, you know what? I made a mistake, but it's too late. That wasn't the one I looked. But I want to show you something real quick before we skedaddle up out of here. I do appreciate the support, but remember when Yvette was talking all that bullshit, how people were wasting their time, actually supporting Umar? I just want to show you something real quick. Fair use, fair use.
Dr. Umar Ifatunde. Peace and Pan-Africanism.
That was an HBCU. It was not too long ago.
Than needs. And so because of that, our talents, what we do, are stolen, are then legally documented and are profited off of. And we wonder why we are where we are, and it is because of a choice and the fact that we have to understand this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Every single day that you have breath in your body, you are called to be about your business. And if you're not, then you're wasting our time.
All right, all right. Now we're going to go to question number 3. But before we go any further, Dr. Umar, I heard people say that you're a racist. I went online and I asked the question to Google: is Dr. Umar a racist? And
You know what? I'll ask a question. What's up with this reverse racism shit? Please riddle me that. This reverse racism shit is starting to like really irk my nerves. With white people don't own up to their they just do not. But we're supposed to. We're supposed to own up to our stuff. So let me put a car on your foot. Let me park my wife's car on your foot. And you say get it off. I was like, well, if I put it in reverse, it's considered racism. If I move forward, it's considered racism. You can't just go ahead and pick and choose. I wish white people would just own up to their shit.
And the answer that I got was an astounding no. Can you tell us why you're not a racist and what is racism?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When you look at the struggle for freedom and justice by the American African people, whenever we speak up to assert ourselves, we're always considered to be racist. Because those who are racist have a vested interest in victimizing themselves to hide their racism. So they project it on you, so they're never held accountable for it. And so we as African people have to make sure that we don't fall into an eternal trap of always explaining to people that we are not racist. We never enslaved Caucasians. We never dehumanized another people. We never created diseases to get rid of entire communities. We've never gentrified anyone. We've never reduced the value of a human life. The crimes that have been committed against us, we have never committed against anyone else.
This is what I will say. We have enslaved Europeans. The difference is that we had fed and clothed the European man back in the I forgot what century that was, but it was just all that shit back in Africa. You got to take the good and the bad and everything. The difference is we fed them, clothed them while they were working in the fields, while they were working in the mines. And then we were teaching them stuff. We were teaching them how they could bathe themselves. We were teaching them how they would shut up. We were teaching these people how to feed themselves. And what became the great equalizer? I believe it was Eddie Griffith that said, at one point in time, we had all the gold, all the diamonds, all the land. They had all the Bibles. You go to sleep, turn around, they have all the gold, all the diamonds, all the land. We have all the Bibles. And yes, there are those African tribes. They had many tribes back then. I mean, we gotta say what's good and what's bad, fam. But the rest of the stuff, I do agree. The rest of the stuff that's coming from him, I do agree.
So how can someone be a racist? I've never advocated hurt or harm against another people. I've never advocated segregation or the suffering of another group. I've never said that any particular community should be done away with. All I've ever advocated, and I do it unapologetically, is that black people should marry black people and black people should build with black people. And I'm not making no excuse for that because I see Arabs do it and nobody say nothing. I see Jews do it, nobody say nothing. I see Indians do it, nobody say nothing. But soon when a black man says black people be for black people, now we're racist. And the reason for that is everyone knows that when the black man and black woman rises, the exploitation of us by the outsiders will automatically stop. See, we don't realize how much we are worth to other people disorganized.
And then once we organize, that worth will eradicate itself.
Yes,
the
sir.
reason I cannot be a racist, the reason why no African in this room can be a racist is because racism is a group system. It is not an individual. It is a group system that is organized to dominate all of the resources, all of the opportunities, and all of the privileges in a given system. So in order to be racist, you have to have the ability to control other people's options. To be racist, you have to have the ability to control other people's opportunities. To be racist, you must have control over the institutions and the resources. What do I control? What do Black people control that we could use to be racist against another group? Now,
and none of us can answer that question quite just yet. But we can all scream at one another and tell other blacks, well, I am rich. I gave all these people jobs and all this other shit. But you never develop anything. If you did, then I didn't see it. We didn't see it. Where are opportunities? Where are the? It's a whole big mess. He keep harping on LeBron James and how he's the first billionaire. How is that, fam? How is he the first billionaire? How did he reach billionaire status? Need I say more? That's it for me. That's it for me, fam. Thank you for the support. Telling the truth is a son of a bitch. But thank you for the support. Thank you for showing me the love. Thank you for everything that you have done for me thus far. And like I said, I will return with another video real soon. Peace.